Hello everyone and welcome to Barca News. It's December 8th, 2022 and Xavi Hernandez has instructed the club not to sell Frank Kessie in a winter transfer market. Also, Barcelona sporting director Jordi Cruyff has stated that it's going to be nearly impossible for Barcelona to sign players in a winter transfer market, and Juan Foyth seems to be the chosen man for the right back position. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and today is the second day without any World Cup matches, and as such there's not much World Cup news for the exception that Spain has decided to fire their coach Luis Enrique after they were eliminated at the hands of Morocco in a penalty shootout in the round of 16. Now I believe that this is a great mistake by the Spanish Royal Football Federation because Luis Enrique had began a new project in trying to rebuild the Spanish squad. And as I've always said on my channel in regards to projects, specifically the one that Xavi is currently building, is that projects take a lot of time to mature and grow and get better. And as such, the Spanish Football Federation should have given Luis Enrique more time to continue developing his team, especially because he has so many young players on the team that with time they will get much better and they will get experience and they will become better players than what they currently are. Now this is even a more shocking decision when you take into account that Germany, who were eliminated in the group stages, have decided to renew the contract of their coach Hansi Flick. And especially since Germany has a stronger World Cup tradition than Spain, where they usually are expected to make it much further into the World Cup than Spain. And yet they have decided to still renew the contract of their coach despite their early elimination, where Spain have decided to fire their coach, even though the high expectations placed on the team were misplaced because Spain, as I've already said, don't really have a strong World Cup tradition, and it's not a team that usually makes it much very far in the World Cups. Now, speaking of the World Cup, if you want to support your team during the 2022 Qatar World Cup, make sure you hit the kit bag where they have the biggest selection of World Cup jerseys. So make sure you click the link down below so you can support your team during this exciting edition of the World Cup. Now on to the news that Xavi Hernandez has requested from the club not to sell Frank Kessie in a winter transfer market. Now as I reported in yesterday's video, since Frank Kessie hasn't been getting much playing time with Barcelona, many teams have reached out to the club to declare their interest in signing the Ivorian midfielder. And amongst those teams are Inter Milan, Napoli, and Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, Frank Kessie, through his agent, has made it very clear that he doesn't want to leave the club and he wants to remain in Barcelona. However, if Barcelona do decide to offload him, Frank Kessie has reportedly stated that he won't cause any problems and he will leave on his own accord. Now, Frank Kessie and his agent met with Xavi earlier this week in order to discuss the future of the player. And it seems that Xavi, after that meeting, informed the club that instructed the club not to sell the player in the winter transfer market. And it's also reported that Xavi told Frank Kessie that he will be getting more playing time and he will be more important after the World Cup ends, especially as fatigue begins to catch up with the players given this very hectic calendar since the World Cup was played in the months of November and December. Now, I'm very happy that Xavi has taken this decision because after all, Frank Kessie hasn't been getting much regular playing time, and as such we haven't seen what the player has to offer to the club. So I'm glad that Xavi has decided to keep him until the end of the season to see whether Frank Kessie can adapt to the club and succeed in Barcelona. And if he doesn't, then we can consider selling him in the summer. But to try to sell him in the winter transfer market, in my opinion, is still premature. Now, Xavi's instruction not to sell Frank Kessie only applies to the winter transfer market. So this doesn't mean that Barcelona could consider selling the player in the summer if things don't end up working out with the Ivorian midfielder. Now on to the news that Barcelona sporting director Jordi Cruyff has confirmed that it's going to be nearly impossible for Barcelona to sign players in the winter transfer market. Now, as I reported previously, Joan Laporta, while he was on tour in South America, he stated that it was going to be impossible for Barcelona to sign players in the winter transfer market due to La Liga's strict financial fair play rules. Well, Jordi Cruyff has confirmed those statements in an interview that he gave to Sport yesterday when he said, "The president communicated that it is very complicated. It is the reality that we have. We also proudly have 17 World Cup players, which means the squad is super competitive. One always wants to improve, but in the last market we were able to do what we could do. We arrived very tightly within fair play to reinforce the areas that we thought were vital to be able to compete and in La Liga, not in the Champions League, it is showing that we are on the right track. Other things will be done when they can. If it can't be done now, that's fine. We'll work with what's available. Now, Jordi Cruyff is confirming that as it stands right now, Barcelona cannot sign any new players given their salary limit. However, if the club want to sign any players in the winter transfer market, they are going to have to offload players in order to clear space on their wage bill. Now, Jordi Cruyff also touched on other subjects during his interview. More importantly, he said that Barcelona are currently considering bringing back Nico from his loan with Valencia, given that he hasn't been getting much playing time. And he also confirmed that Kessie is not going to be sold during this winter transfer market. Now, Jordi Cruyff was also asked about whether Frenkie de Jong was up for sale. And Jordi Cruyff stated that the moment to sell Frenkie de Jong had passed. And he also said that it was the financial situation that forced the club to consider selling Frenkie de Jong, not a footballing decision, and that there's no longer a reason to sell Frenkie de Jong, and that in fact the club are very happy with the Dutch midfielder's performance. Now, Jordi Cruyff was also asked about whether Barcelona are going to try to sign Lionel Messi, and Jordi Cruyff said that it is free to dream, however, unfortunately, players are not. So in other words, Jordi Cruyff is stating that even though Barcelona would love to sign Lionel Messi and bring him back to the club for one last season, given the financial situation of the club, that's most likely not going to happen. Now on to the news that Juan Foyth seems to be the chosen man to reinforce the right back position. Now, as I just reported, Barcelona are not going to be able to sign any players in the winter transfer market unless they offload players to clear space on their wage bill. And as I've reported many times before, one of those players that Barcelona are planning to offload is, of course, Memphis Depay. Now, Barcelona are hoping to offload Memphis Depay in a winter transfer market, and in doing so, they will be clearing around 15 million euros on their wage bill, which the club then hope to use for the reinforcement of the right back position, given that Xavi does not count on Héctor Bellerin. Now, it seems that Barcelona are determined on signing the Argentinian Juan Foyth, who they tried to sign over the summer, but because of an injury during the final days of the summer transfer market, Barcelona were unable to do so. Now, Barcelona feel that this is a very feasible operation for them, given that they have a very good relationship with Juan Foyth's club, Villarreal, and they also have a very good relationship with Juan Foyth's agent, and Juan Foyth has made it clear that he is in favor of changing teams. Now, it's reported that Villarreal would be willing to let Juan Foyth go for around 20 to 30 million euros, which Barcelona think could negotiate down given that Juan Foyth did not play in the World Cup and given that he's currently nursing an injury. Now, speaking of the right back position, as I reported previously, Jose Mourinho's AS Roma are currently considering signing Héctor Bellerin, given that Jose Mourinho no longer counts on his current right back, Rick Karsdorp. However, it's now being reported that Jose Mourinho is looking for other options, so we're gonna have to see whether Héctor Bellerin does end up leaving in the winter transfer market, or whether Barcelona are going to keep him until the end of his contract in the summer of 2023. Now on to the news that Barcelona are very happy with the performance of Abde in the World Cup. Now, Abde is currently on a one-year loan with no option to buy with Osasuna, and Barcelona are very happy with the performance of the Moroccan in the World Cup, given that he's been having very good showings with his national team. Now, Barcelona are reportedly looking forward to have Abde on their team next season. And even though there were several reports that Barcelona were considering selling Abde, as it stands, Barcelona are not considering that. They want to have Abde on their team next season. However, if things don't go the way that Barcelona are planning, then they will consider selling him. Now, this means that given the club's financial situation, that if Barcelona are unable to follow through with their financial plans, such as offloading a certain player, or if they need to sell a player in order to make a new signing, then they will consider selling Abde. But as it stands, that is not the main objective of Barcelona, and the club are very much looking forward to having the Moroccan on their team next season. Now, we will end today's video with the news that the Barcelona Femení lost at the hands of Bayern Munich 3-1 in the Women's Champions League. Now, Barcelona and Bayern Munich are currently tied on points with 9 points each. However, Barcelona are still on top of their group given the immense goal difference, 13-1. And Barcelona only need to tie during the next game against Benfica on December 15th in order to qualify to the quarterfinals of the Women's Champions League. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I'd like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below, giving me all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that I share with you. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. And as always, peace, Barça.